the Father gives me. John 6:37. All that the Father gives me will come to me. In other words, running straight through this gospel from beginning to end is the truth that the Father and the Son decisively draw a people out of darkness into light. And Christ died for this people, and when He is lifted up, they will come. Our job is to lift Him up. The lifting up in this text is to be put on a cross. And when He's lifted up from the earth and put on a cross so that all can see, He will be seen and He will be powerful in the lives of those who don't see Him as foolishness. Remember that from 1 Corinthians 2? Jews demand signs. Greeks seek wisdom. But we preach Christ crucified. Foolishness to the Jews. Foolishness to the Gentiles. Stumbling block to the Jews. But to those who are called, the power of God. And the call is decisive. It causes people to see Him as beautiful. That's my God hanging there. Remember Thomas? I don't need to touch you, my Lord and my God. God did that for Thomas. So my answer to the objection is that 12:32, when it says, if I be lifted up, I will draw all to myself, means all the children of God, all the sheep, all those who are of God, all those who are of the truth, all those whom God has appointed to eternal life are decisively drawn to the Son. And that's what we should be doing every day, filling this city with that placarding of Jesus Christ. It's God's business to save sinners. It's our business to boldly proclaim the gospel everywhere, all the time, and say, whosoever wills may come. Come, come, come. And those whom God chooses to bring, He will bring. That's not our business. That's God's business. Now, my other question here is, so how does He do that? What's that like? What does He do in here? How did you get saved? This is so important for believers. I frankly believe the Gospel of John is written for believers. I know it says at the end in 20:31, these things are written that you may believe. Present tense, ongoing. Because there's just so many places in this book that talk about false faith. He didn't give Himself to them when they believed because He knew what was in man. That's like, who's that addressed to? Me? Lest I get puffy and think, I've got this figured out. You know, I'm in, instead of saying, oh God, protect me. Oh God, keep me. Draw me daily to You. It's You who keeps. It's You who saved. It's You who keeps. So I hope all you believers are asking the question, okay, I want to know myself here. I want to know what happened to me. When I was 6, I don't even remember it, right? Or 14, or 24, or 60. I want to know what happened to me. I have a teeny little idea of how I got saved. I've been given categories, and half of them are wrong. I just want to know what God did for me, and that's what the rest of this sermon is about. And unbelievers in the crowd, super glad you're here, and I hope that as I speak, God will awaken and do what I'm describing right now. So let's read verses 45 to 47. Start 44. No one can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him. So we're trying to unpack what that means. What happened? Words. I want to know what happened. What's it like? What goes on inside when that drawing happens? And I will raise him up on the last day. Next. It is written in the prophets, and they will all be taught by God. Everyone, and I think this confirms, by the way, the solution I offered to the objection in John 12:32. Everyone who has heard and learned from the Father comes to me. In other words, the taught come. Not that anyone has seen the Father except he who is from God. He has seen the Father. Truly, truly, I say to you, whoever believes has eternal life. And we're just trying to figure out here, how did I come to believe? How did I come to believe? How did I get drawn? What was it like, Lord? So that I can praise you, so that I can enjoy the solidity and security of it, so that I can understand the role of Jesus in it, and the Spirit in it, and the Father in it, and the Trinity gets praise from my life as long as I have breath for what you did in my life. John's answer to the question how the Father draws is by saying, God teaches them. God teaches them. No one comes to me unless the Father draws him. It is written and they will all be taught of God. See the connection? No one can come to me unless the Father draws him. It's written. They'll all be taught. And all the taught are drawn. The connection between being taught and coming to Christ is unbreakable. No one is taught and then decides not to come. And we know that because of verse 45, last half of the verse. Everyone who has heard and learned from the Father comes to me. All of them come. So he's got three phrases to describe what happens. Number one, being taught. Number two, hearing from God. Number three, learning from God. All right there in verse 45. They will be taught of God. Everyone who has heard and learned from the Father comes to me. How does that happen? What's that like? How did it happen to you? Can you point to some experience where you say, yeah, that's what the Father did. That's what the Father did. That's why I came. That's why I believed at Billy Graham or at my mom's knee or reading my Bible as a sophomore in college or, yes, that's what he did. Or is this a new idea to you? Taught of God is how I was drawn. And if it's new, which I suppose it is for most of you, then just drink. Everyone who has heard and learned from the Father comes to me. This is a totally effective